Welcome to another episode of Talk with Antonio. I am your host, Antonio. Today is June 24th, 2025. Let me say that a lot of shit has gone down this past week. Well, first and foremost, let's start what happened with. I'm going to be talking about what happened this past Saturday. The United States has bombed Iran, and also the ICE raids are still going down here in Southern California. Well, first and foremost, let's start with what happened with Iran. It says here that on June 21st, 2025, the United States, under the orders of Trump, bombed 3 Iranian nuclear enrichment sites, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, joining the Iran-Israel war. And you know, it's funny how this fucker right here basically went behind Congress back. He only informed certain Republicans, but did not inform Democrats at all. Let's think about this for 1 second, people. If President Obama or President Clinton have done that, do you think they would have ordered to both President Obama and President Clinton impeachment? Of course. The Republicans would have fucking complained, and because they would done all these impeachment offenses towards President Obama and President Clinton, you know. But since it's Trump, you know, this is something I am so sick and tired of. A lot of people don't approve of Trump bombing Iran. Why? And you know, this is the one thing I've never understood. Why is it that the United States always, and I mean always, has to bend over backwards for Israel? You know? And you know, President Clinton said in an interview not too long ago, he said that Benjamin Netanyahu wants to bomb Iran because he wants to stay in power forever. I mean, it's very obvious that fucking Netanyahu wants to be the ruler of Israel forever and still bomb and kill innocent people in Gaza and West Bank. And now this fucking asshole's joining in on the war. This is the same guy right here who said that back in 2011 that President Obama was going to start a war with Iran because of his so-called... you know how Trump always ran his fucking mouth all the fucking time. This is it. This is right now. It has resurfaced right now. Here it is.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Sound familiar?
So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength.
I believe you're a laughingstock.
But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage.
Y'all heard that, right? And there's every tweet, and this was when this fucking cocksucker was on Twitter. Let me read for every fucking tweet that he wrote about this shit right here. Let me find it because I have it saved right here, ladies and gentlemen. This dates back on September 16th, 2013 at 5:23 p.m. Hold on. Let's start in chronological order. This was at 1:44 p.m. September 25th, 2013. Remember what I previously said? Obama will someday attack Iran in order to show how tough he is. There's another one at 5, the same date at 5. This was in September 6th. I'm sorry. Let's go back from the beginning. This dates back on September 16th, 2013 at 5:23 p.m. I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. Okay. Now this is in September 25th, 2013 at 1:44 p.m. Remember what I said previously? Obama will someday attack Iran in order to show how tough he is. Okay. And this right here, you know, in last year's presidential campaign, the fucking Trump-Vance campaign kept saying that Vice President Harris was going to start a nuclear war. They're going to start likely a World War III. And this is right here, this other fuckface pretend Democrat named Tulsi Gabbard. She said this while she was campaigning for Trump. This is what this bitch said. Give me 1 second.
Join me as I say these words. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As we gather here today on this historic occasion, we stand together as proud Americans in understanding that these very rights are under attack. So we face this historic crossroads where our freedom and our future is in our hands. There's never been a more clear choice in any election in my life, and our ability to live in a truly peaceful and free and prosperous country is on the line. I love you too. And it is that love that brings us together here today, that love for freedom, that love for our country, love for each other as fellow Americans, as children of God, that compels us to take action to save our country and defend our freedom. Now, this choice that we have before us is very personal to me. I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve. I've served now for over 21 years. I've deployed to different war zones 3 times over that period, and I've seen the cost of war.
Yeah. For any fucking war in the world that doesn't make any sense, you know.
For my brothers and sisters who paid the ultimate price, I carry their memories and their sacrifice in my heart every day. So this choice that we have before us as Americans is critical. It's important to us. It's important to those of us who serve, who have volunteered to put our lives on the line for the safety, security, and freedom of our country and our people, and it's critical to all of us. Here is the choice that we have. A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney, and it's a vote for war, more war, likely World War III and nuclear war.
Gee, who started that right now? Fuckface Trump. You know, this is the same guy who, as I posted this video here, this is the same guy who said that President Obama was going to start a war with Iran because of his in order to get reelected. What the fuck does Trump have right now? Why did he do that? Because, you know, there's been a lot of discussions in social media and every page that the only reason did that because Trump, you know how back in 2015 when President Obama did that Iran deal, and as soon as this guy came into his first term, that's one of the things he did. He got rid of the nuclear deal with Iran. Everything, you know, this guy undid everything that President Obama did. Why? Because this guy right here, he has an agenda. He hates Obama with a passion because he so desires. You know, the one thing he's been complaining about when President Obama was in his first term. I think he won the Nobel Peace Prize, and this guy right here, that's all he ever talks about how President Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize. All this fucking shit that all he ever did on Twitter was run his mouth about President Obama. He said that I remember in Twitter he said, gas prices are high, fire Obama. Okay, motherfucker, gas prices are high right now. They should fire your fat ass right now. That's the one thing I say about this piece of shit. And another one, there's another one that says here, Trump said, and I quote, Kamala will have us in a war in 6 months. This motherfucker did it in 5 months. Okay, there's another tweet right here. This one, it dates back in October 9th, 2012 at 5:39 p.m. Trump said, and I quote, now that Obama's poll numbers are in the tailspin, watch him to launch a strike in Libya or in Iran. He is desperate. And look what this guy did right now. He's also desperate because he wants to divert the attention that was going on right now here in the United States with the mass deportations he's trying to do right now, with all the illegal ICE raids he's trying to do. And also right now, some Republicans are actually not in favor of going into war because, as I said before, in last year's in November during the elections, this guy said that he was, quote unquote, going to lower the egg prices. He's going to lower the gas prices. He's going to lower groceries. He was not going to start any more wars. And people actually fell for that. The stupid people actually drank the purple Kool-Aid from this guy. And what the fuck is he doing right now? He's starting another war in the Middle East. Basically, he's doing another Bush 2.0. Two of the fucking cocksuckers that I hate with a passion. Trump, he's starting a war with Iran, and Bush for starting a war in Iraq for a senseless war that never made sense. President Obama ended that fucking war. And another war that Bush did was in Afghanistan, and President Biden ended it when he pulled out. You know, it's funny how the MAGAs right now are always saying, oh, we're going to go with Iran, MAGA. They're on social media pretending to be like they're being like their keyboard, like President, I'm sorry. I had a brain fart right now. Just like how, what's his name, Governor Newsom said he called Trump America's keyboard warrior. Now all of these fucking MAGAs are saying, oh, I stand with Trump that he bombed Iran. I stand with all this. Okay, now there's very strong rumors going around that they want to bring back the draft. It's very unlikely because there hasn't been a draft since 1973. I read that on Wikipedia. And for this guy to force to bring back a draft, I don't think it's nobody's going to go into a fight another war for another senseless war just to appease his own ego. I said this before. The United States, you know how Republicans are always complaining and bitching and complaining that the United States is spending too much money and sending money to Ukraine, but yet somehow these are the same people are just quiet in regards to supporting Israel. Look, I'm not being racist. I've never said anything against Israel. It's just that I am so sick and tired of how the United States always bends over backwards for this country. What is it that this country has that knows of the secrets of the United States? What it is, I don't know. But yet somehow now I said it in one of my social media pages. Trump is now a fucking warmonger. Yet people like what's his fucking twat's name, Meghan McCain, saying on her Twitter page that the Obama era is over, saying that America is strong with the military. Yet she forgot that her father, John McCain, was a fucking chronic warmonger, just like Netanyahu, and now this guy right here, Trump. And there's a video right here where he addressed the United States after he bombed the Iranian nuclear sites. This is him right here. This is it right here. Here he comes. Fat orange fuck, along with that other useless, dickless J.D. Vance, that other pathetic little Cuban Marco Rubio, and that drunk Pete Hegseth, whatever this fuck.
Thank you very much.
Look at this speaker right here.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan.
Esfahan.
Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity.
What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Let alone, he's fucking slurring the way he's talking. This is the same guy right here who was always talking trash and poking fun at President Biden because he couldn't even speak right or he used to trip on the airplane. He's doing the exact same thing. He's slurring, and he also tripped on Air Force One. And that fuckface Marco Rubio was like all pretending, trying to imitate him. Fucking ass kiss. Trump is senile right now. He's fucking senile, but yet somehow the media is all quiet about that. No one is saying shit about that, but somehow when it was President Biden, it was a huge deal. But with this fucking cholesterol shitbag, they don't say anything. He's acting all senile right now.
And a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
Yeah, by doing it behind the back of Congress, without the Congress approval, you kept the Democrats in the dark.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Yeah. Easy for you. If you want to install a draft, why don't you send your kids to war? Or why don't you send your kid Barron, you know?
For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we
Yeah, more like God. Is more sounds like he's more of a fucking tyrant.
love our great military, protect them. God bless the Middle East, God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Walking away. Fucking asshole. I don't get it. I will never understand any fucking senseless war in this country or any war in the world, you know. I've always had something against wars. Wars are senseless. But, you know, there's only, like as I said before, they only do this because they want to divert the attention from what's going on here. But there's another reason. Money. War always brings money. That's the fucking truth. And you know, it says here, like right now, about not too long ago, Trump announces Israel and Iran have agreed to a ceasefire. And they show a picture here. Oh my fucking shit. Every time this guy's always wearing that stupid hat, Make America Great Again, 45-47, with that stupid orange tan. I swear to you, I would like to go up and slap him in the face till my hand turns red. Oh my God. I don't know. Like, it's just like me. If I were to run president, I would be wearing my hat, my baseball hat backwards. Because that's what I would do. I wouldn't give a shit. If the Republicans would get mad at me, I would like say, why didn't you tell your president, orange fuckface, he always wore a fucking cap, a baseball hat, you know? I would say, fuck you, you know? It says here, President Trump announced Monday that Israel and Iran have agreed on a, quote, complete and total ceasefire, unquote. A move he said it would end more than a week-long conflict between the two countries. The ceasefire will start in about 6 hours, and after 12 hours, the, quote, war will be considered ended, Trump wrote on Truth Social, indicating that the ceasefire would begin at midnight. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, and then the 12-day war will be saluted by the world, Trump said. Shit the fuck? There has been no official word yet from Israel or Iran on a ceasefire. The terms of the apparent ceasefire aren't clear. CBS News has reached out to the White House for more information. The conflict between Israel and Iran began June 13th with Israel launching airstrikes against Iranian nuclear military targets. The strikes, which killed several top Iranian military officials, prompted Iranian counterattacks on Israel. At least 950 people have been killed and 3,450 people were wounded in Israel's strikes in Iran, including a mix of military personnel and civilians. The group Human Rights Activists told the Associated Press Iran's attacks have killed at least 24 people in Israel, according to Israeli officials. The U.S. military took military action against Iran over the weekend, striking 3 sites that are believed to be key to Iran's nuclear power nuclear program. The move sparked fears of a wider war, but Iran's response on Monday was fairly limited. Iran fired more than a dozen missiles at a U.S. base in Qatar, most of which were intercepted and no injuries were reported, U.S. and Qatari officials said. Iran called its response, quote, devastating and powerful, but Mr. Trump called it very weak. The president said in another true social media that he wanted to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which has made it possible for no lives to be lost. Dispute over Iran's nuclear program still lingers. It is not clear how the ceasefire announcement will impact a broader dispute over the fate of Iran's nuclear program. Israel's campaign was primarily at Iran's nuclear program as the country's stockpile of near-weapons-grade uranium has grown rapidly in recent months, according to the International Atomic Energy Union. Israel has alleged Iran was secretly racing towards a nuclear bomb, but earlier this year, U.S. intelligence agencies assessed that Iran was not making nuclear weapons, though, quote, pressure has probably built for Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei to reauthorize the country's nuclear weapons program. Trump said last week he believed the intelligence community was wrong about Iran's nuclear ambitions, telling reporters, I think, quote, they were very close to having one. Marco Rubio said the issue irrelevant in an interview Sunday on CBS News, faced the nation with Margaret Brennan saying Iranian officials have everything they need to build a weapon. Iran has long insisted its uranium enrichment is peaceful. For weeks, Trump has sought a broader deal with Iran to limit its nuclear program, but even before Israel began striking Iran, administration officials had grown frustrated with what they view as Iran's unwillingness to actually negotiate. A U.S. official told CBS News Trump has suggested Iran should abandon all uranium enrichment, but Iran rejected that demand. Trump said over the weekend that the U.S. strikes had, quote, obliterated 3 Iranian nuclear sites, including 2 subterranean uranium enrichment facilities, though Iran has downplayed the damage. You know, it's funny that this guy, as I said before, said that he did not want to start another war. And look what he did right now. Trump is just I think he's a fucking clown. All he ever does is just open his mouth and lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and lie. And just like Jesse Ventura said, I'm no expert, but I believe that Trump is a sociopath. Sociopaths lie, and Trump is one of them. He is a fucking gigantic sociopath, you know? And even some Republicans are, or even like some hardcore MAGAs are not in favor of the United States bombing Iran. Candace Owens is one of them. And this one right here, this is what he said. This is from a page that I follow on Twitter. It's called MAGA Cult Slayer. He posted a video and fuck. He posted a video of everyone knows MAGA big head Nick Fuentes. He says, I can't believe I am saying this, but Nick Fuentes is speaking the truth. This is what he said.
J.D. Vance, Miriam Adelson, Rubio, all these people are not your friends. Americans will die for Israel because they betrayed our country. And you want to talk about the left. You want to talk about better than Kamala. Shut the fuck up forever. Shut the fuck up forever now.
That was Nick Fuentes. A lot of people are not in favor of this military strike they did against Iran. But yet somehow people like Tammy Lauren, oh my God, this fucking twat. I was saying, oh, MAGA. And you know, it's funny how they say that the United States is not at war with Iran. Yes, it is. If you're bombing a country, that's a declaration of war. This is what J.D. Vance says.
question, Mr. Vice President, is the United States now at war with Iran?
No, Kristen, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. And let me just say, Kristen, that we're incredibly grateful and proud of the American Air Force pilots who did an incredible job last night.
That is a declaration of war, fuckface. And a lot of people, this fellow right here, he says this.
Breaking news, it's official. America has gone to war with Iran. Trump just announced that the American military dropped bombs on 3 nuclear facilities within the country. Trump says we have completed our very successful attack on these 3 nuclear sites in Iran, and that all planes are outside of the Iranian airspace, and they're on their way home. And he also says at the end of his message that now is the time for peace. So let me get this straight. Trump puts us back into a war in the Middle East, and then says now is the time for peace. Do not be misled by Donald Trump's statement that this is a time for peace. This is an act of war, and just like Bush, Donald Trump is now putting us into war in the Middle East with Iran. This statement came less than 5 minutes before I sat down to film the video you're watching now, so we don't have a clear view of what this means for American involvement in Iran moving forward, what this means for Iran potentially striking a handful of U.S. military bases in the region like they said they would if we strike them. And I will keep you guys up to date with developments as we learn them, but this is a very sad day for America.
A lot of people are fearing that there's going to be another world war. Honestly, that would be that's a scary thought, you know. And you know, it's just a sad, you know, like the United States, like especially this guy, he does whatever the fuck he wants, and I think somebody needs to stop him. Like, for example, AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she says that they should impeach Trump. I think I should agree. A lot of people right now are saying that they should impeach Trump. But yeah, you know, there's one guy who I used to respect. I actually was in favor of him, but now that ever since he became like more like complacent with the MAGA, John Fetterman, now he's like all kissing Trump's ass. He's a quote unquote Democrat. He's becoming like Tulsi Gabbard, pretend Democrat, and then when they don't like what they're saying, they become either an independent or they switch to the Republican Party. This is a video right now that this is Vice President Kamala Harris being interviewed with Rachel Maddow. This is what she said about on regards to Trump and Iran.
This president is thinking about putting us in a position where we're in a war with Iran. The consequences will be absolutely unacceptable and tragic in terms of the young men and women who are American soldiers who would be sent and deployed into something that was completely avoidable. In a Harris administration, we wouldn't have gotten ourselves into this mess. And I do not believe that the current president of the United States is working in the best interest of the people of this country. I have good reason, based on everything we know publicly, to suspect and to be concerned that his motivation is more out of self-interest than it is the interest of the American people. You know, I'm traveling our country and meeting with the families who are sending their sons and daughters to these endless wars. And this president better take very seriously any threat that he makes to enter us into another war and send our young men and women into battle.
Never take your money.
That's Vice President Harris. And you know, a lot of people right now, even people like what's his name, Tucker Carlson, are not happy with how Trump has bombed Iran. Like everyone right now is just like reacting right now. Like, you know, they should have done this way before. You know what I'm saying? And it says here that there's another one here from fucking Trump. This is based in this took place in November 11th, 2013 at 10:55 a.m. It says, And I quote, Trump said in Twitter, "Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled?" Idiot. And it says here it is, as I mentioned before, you know how a lot of MAGAs are turning against Trump because of what he did with Iran. This is a video right here.
Well, this is some terrible news for Donald Trump. Some of his own fans are starting to turn on him as he embraces the idea of going to war with Iran. Like, for example, conservative commentator Candace Owens just said Donald Trump just completely fractured his base, and he did it for the very neocons who minted the Never Trump movement. Truly unbelievable. This guy said in a now viral tweet, "F it, if Trump takes us to war, I'm done with him and his administration. I voted for no wars, cheap gas, no taxes, cheap groceries, maha. What if these things have actually happened? I'm pissed." Newsflash, buddy, you got played. And in replies to Donald Trump on social media, people are losing it. This guy said, Trump lost it. I thought Trump cared about relationships. Clearly something is wrong with him. This guy said, you're going to throw away your entire presidency over a war with Iran. Sam said, very disappointed. We don't want this. Safe to say that even some of Donald Trump's diehard supporters are not on board with what he's doing right now. And there are many more examples. I imagine that this is only going to get worse for Donald Trump. I'm going to break it down on my YouTube, my Substack, and my show on Spotify. All of those links are in my bio. But things aren't going great for Trump.
Doesn't surprise me at all, you know. Does not surprise me at all. It's just sad. Like right now, like I said, if what's gonna happen in the world right now? Sorry, it's just like right now, it just makes me think a lot. People, why is he not why always being dragged into wars? And always butting into people's business, you know. It's like, you know, like with Iran. Let's go back in time. 1953, I believe. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, let's go back in time. It says here that I think it was during the Truman administration, the second term, like in the last months of the Truman administration. There's this one fellow who was trying to be he was the prime minister of Iran from 1951 to 1953. He was Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, and he was prime minister from Iran from 1951 to 1953. And he was overthrown by the 1953 Iranian coup d'etat, and it was supported by the United States and the United Kingdom. It says here that the coup aimed at strengthening the autocratic rule of the Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. A key motive was to protect British oil interests in Iran, and after its government refused to concede Western oil demands. It was instigated by the United States under the name TP Ajax Project, or Operation Ajax, and the United Kingdom under the name Operation Boot. This began a period of dissolution for Iranian democracy and society. And I did a quiz one time here online in regards to certain presidents that happened. They've done some things that usually that could create some problems in the future. Like with, as I was saying before, during the Truman administration, Prime Minister Mossadegh, he went to the United States, and even at that time, British told Truman that this guy was going to take away the land that belonged to them and then give it back to its people. And then Britain was like, "Hey, man," to Truman, "Hey, do something for us, you know." And at that time, Truman said, "Man, this is not my thing. Just deal with yourselves." But once Eisenhower came in, different story. They did the 1953 coup d'etat. They installed the Shah of Iran, and he was in power from that point on up until 1979, when during the Islamic Revolution, they overthrew the Shah, and the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini came into power. But prior to that, when Eisenhower overthrew Mossadegh, that created that was the beginning of the rise of Muslim extremism against the United States of America. That's when they started. People like in the Middle East started hating the United States because they're always butting in people's business that did not. They start butting into people's into other. They're just sticking their nose and they're sticking their noses where they didn't belong. It's just like I've always, even though I love the United States, I'm a patriot. I love my country, but the United States has always had a thing for butting into people's business, other countries' businesses, like what they did with Iran. Another example: the following year, they overthrew democratically elected President Jacobo Arbenz of Guatemala because President Arbenz took the land that belonged to United Fruit and gave it to the peasants. And United Fruit did not like that. And so they went to fucking Eisenhower and they overthrew President Arbenz, and they gave back they took the land back from the peasants and gave it back to United Fruit. It's just not right, Like, what is it with the United States that's always sticking their nose into other countries' businesses? They should not be doing that. And right now, with what happened with Iran, it's just pretty serious. But supposedly there's a ceasefire. Let's see what happens in the coming days right now. So, now let's move on to the other subject right now. Well, what's going on with ICE right now here in Southern California? They're still doing the raids. No surprise here. And it says that this past week I was watching ICE. I've been doing raids in car washes. They're still doing raids in Burbank, in North Hollywood. And it says here that something happened during the week of, let me find the address. Okay. Something happened on June 19th. It says that ICE tried to get into Dodger Stadium. And it says, this is coming from the Twitter page of the official Twitter page of the Dodgers. It says June 19th, 2025 at 12:12 p.m. And I quote, "This morning, ICE agents came to Dodger Stadium and requested permission to access the parking lots. They were denied entry to the grounds by the organization. Tonight's game will be played as scheduled." And Homeland Security immediately answered at 12:49 p.m. This had nothing to do with the Dodgers. CBP vehicles were in the stadium parking lot very briefly, unrelated to any operation or enforcement. And it's funny how ICE, the Eero Los Angeles page, the official page on Twitter, ICE says, "False, we were never there." Bullshit, motherfuckers. You were there. There's video right there of you motherfuckers being escorted by the LAPD. Get the fuck out of it. You can see people that were protesting against ICE agents. And it's funny how these motherfuckers are always they're fucking bullies. They are fucking bullies, and also dickless cowards. It's funny how there's a video right now that's circulating around the internet. This happened in Santa Ana. It says that there's a video of a Marine Corps veteran's father became a target of violent ICE arrest. And it says here, look at them right now. They're walking around with all masked up and shit. It says, after Gardner in Santa Ana was pinned down and violently detained Saturday by federal immigration agents, his son, who has served in the United States Marine Corps, expressed anger, sadness, and a sense of betrayal. A video clip outside of Santa Ana IHOP on Ritchie Street and Edinger Avenue shows Narciso Barranco being punched repeatedly in the head last Saturday. He was handcuffed. The Department of Homeland Security shared on social media that Barranco assaulted a federal agent with a weed whacker, which prompted federal agents to respond aggressively. It says here, but his family said the longtime landscaper was trying to protect himself from Mace and several armed agents. Quote, I felt a lot of anger because it doesn't take 4 or 5 200-plus pound guys to get a 5'7" and 150-pound guy. In the same video from the arrest, a man is hearing, why are you hitting him? Assistant this bitch, Tricia McLaughlin of Homeland Security, claimed that the gardener tried to run away from federal agents through a busy intersection in Santa Ana. She said, and I quote, he raised a weed whacker at the agent. The illegal alien refused to comply every step of the way, resisting commands, fighting handcuffs, and refused to identify himself, McLaughlin said in a statement. Typical fucking bitch. You know, it's funny how they're going to put all these bogus charges against that poor fellow. And it says here, but the manager of the IHOP disputed the claim, saying that he saw what happened during the arrest. Quote, he was protecting himself, Guillermo Villarreal said. He was not attacking anybody. They were beating him so hard. The Marine Corps veteran said his dad, a hardworking man with no criminal history, did not attack or provoke the agents. Barranco's 2 sons are currently serving in the Marine Corps. I felt betrayed because these are my people, Barranco said. My dad is my people. The community is my people. Military is my people. At the end of the day, it's my people against my people. I feel hurt. It says that the video appears that his shoulder was dislocated. The son said. He said it hurt a lot. He said his eyes burned. He was thirsty and hungry. Of course. Fucking ICE are going to treat this poor fellow after they beat him. He's going to treat him and throw him in jail like if he was a piece of shit. That ain't right, you know. It says here that the family tried to talk with an immigration attorney about the parole in place, an immigration benefit for service members, helping undocumented families of the military to stay in the U.S. But Barranco said his father did not have the time or resource to follow up with the attorney as he worked 7 days a week to support a family. It says here the Marine Corps veteran pleaded with the Trump administration to have compassion for people like his dad. It breaks my heart because I love my country. I love what I did in the Marine Corps, he explained. At the same time, I love my parents. I love my roots. I think there's need to be an easier pathway to legal status here in the United States. You know, it breaks my heart, but it makes my blood boil just watching how these fucking assholes, the dude was on the ground and they're just punching him in the head. Fucking dickless cowards. And they're all masked up. And, you know, and this guy says that he wants to plead with the Trump administration to have compassion. Trump is not going to have compassion for these poor, hardworking people. He's not going to do it because that's the reason he did his campaign. Mass deportations now. Trump definitely has an agenda. You know? And it just really makes my blood boil because of all these poor people that are just... They're terrifying. You know, right now, as I work as a delivery driver, the streets are practically empty right now. There's nothing. You know, like the food stalls that there's. I live here in the valley on Laurel Canyon and Osborne. On the sidewalk, there's usually a lot of like food stands right there. And right now, it's just empty. And near where I work at in Victory Boulevard in Vineland, at the Target parking lot. Usually there's like a lot of food stands there, but right now there's nothing. People are scared. And you know it's funny that even this administration, they're arresting even United States citizens, which I think is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Where are they going to deport these United States citizens, you know? And right now there's another video of Joe Rogan. He says that he is against Trump's cruel immigration deportation plan. This is huge. But you know what, though? Joe Rogan knew who he was voting for. And all these people, and even like the Latinos for Trump that voted for him, majority of them getting their asses deported, especially with Cuban Americans right now, or Cubans who are here illegally. Like, this is Joe Rogan right here.
See a lot of of people online talking about this immigrant issue, and they either don't have kids or they don't think it could happen to their kids. Their idea is, hey, shouldn't have fucking come over here. You get those kind of people. Broke the law. Shouldn't have fucking come over here if you could. You didn't want to get your kids separated. If you were in the presence of a woman who came over here from Guatemala and she's poor and she's starving and they're taking her baby away and she's wailing and screaming from a primal place in her DNA that the one thing she loves more than anything is being taken away. A baby.
Yeah.
If that doesn't freak you the fuck out, you're not a part of the team, man. You're missing it. You're missing it. What are we here for? We're here for 100 years of whatever. That's what we're here for. If you want to spend 100 years saying, hey, you shouldn't have fucking broke the law, I don't want you on the team. You're an asshole, right? And I don't give a fuck if you're right or left. I don't care if you're religious, or I don't care if you're an atheist. If that's what you support, you're an asshole, and we don't want you on our team. I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't. It's disgusting. If you're saying, well, they shouldn't have broke the law, maybe they shouldn't have broke the law. You don't get to do something that's 1,000 times worse than crossing a line in the dirt. That fucking imaginary line in the dirt, crossing that is nothing in comparison to your crime of stealing a baby from its mother. That's fucking insane.
You know, look, I'm no fan of Joe Rogan to what he said. I mean, I'm sorry. I meant to say I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan, but what he said, he put the nail in the coffin. Is these fucking racist white people, especially like the MAGAs, they're saying, oh, they should deport this, they shouldn't have been here, they shouldn't have broken the law. I would like to say this to these racist white people who say that. If that's the case, then you motherfuckers, especially your ancestors, came to this country, stole native land. Wouldn't you say that you're also invaders? You're colonizers. You racist white people invaded this land and stole native land, and that you claim that this is your country? Newsflash: you racist white people did not come from the United States of America. You came from Europe. You know, if they say go back to, it's funny how these racist white people say to people who are speaking Spanish, they always say go back to Mexico. Like, if that's supposed to, that is offensive to me. But they say they feel all powerful because right now, since Trump is back in power, they're more open with their racism. And if that's the case, if you say go back to Mexico, if your racist white people say to a Latino American to go back to Mexico, okay, then you should go back to Europe then. Go back to England. I'm not being racist or anything like that, but if you're being racist towards a Latino American just because they're speaking Spanish, then you should go back to Europe then. Because you came here, you stole land, you're also invaders, And it's funny that there's right now they're trying to create a law that they want to, because there's also been strong rumors that these so-called ICE agents are not really ICE agents. They're just pretending to be. They're wearing these badge. They're not even wearing any badge numbers. No, nothing like that. They say Border Patrol, but they're not identifying themselves. They're just acting within, just pretending to be bounty hunters. And they're saying that, quote unquote, there's always been a strong rumor that these ICE agents are all people who were pardoned by Trump. These January 6th terrorists now pretend to be ICE agents. And this right here, this is a video right here. And there's a video right here that this happened in Bell, California. It shows how these ICE agents come here. They showed up, and then they were being their cars were being hauled by a tow truck, and even the police won't help them. And there was a video of ICE agents being run off by people, and you know who helped them out? The fire department. They kicked out ICE out of there. And it's just I don't know how long this is gonna last. But I'm just I don't pray because I don't pray. But I'm just hoping this will end fast, because this is people are living in fear right now. You know how back then back in 2020 the world was at a standstill. Streets were empty because of a pandemic. Right now, streets are empty because of people. And this is a video right here. Woman asked if she's a U.S. citizen that gets saved by the community. And here comes the fucking so-called ICE agent, says Border Patrol. And they hit this fucker with his face covered. And then she just asked for a badge number, and then he calls the radio for backup. And she just, this is the video right here.
ID. Name and ID. Name and ID. That's what we're waiting for. Name and ID. You don't have to answer any questions. ¿Qué de ahí? ¿Lo tienes que? No, no hay que decir nada. No. No, you're not grabbing anybody. You're getting back in your car and you're leaving. Oh, great. More goons. Let's see them. Oh, you got plates on from Illinois. Wow. Are you kidding me? This is really... No. Come on. No. Show your face, show your name, show your IDs.
Name yourself.
Where's your ID? Come on. No. Where's your ID? What are you doing? Look at all these. Where's your ID? Just... All we want is an ID. It's...
All we want is to answer one question.
Ask the question. No. Okay. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're fucking pathetic. You're fucking pathetic. It's a kidnapping. They're kidnapping. Nevada?
This guy.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that. Until I see a badge number or something like that, and they're you know, like if you're really an ICE agent, you're supposed to have a license plate that says U.S. government, like I've seen in the past, in past videos, you know. And they're right now. This is a courtesy of on NBC4. It says growing calls for police to show ID and face amid rise in ICE impersonators. It says, "Who are these people?" said Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. And you can see right here, there's a picture right here of 4 cocksuckers right here who are wearing these vests, carrying arms. You can see like the ICE badge, but they're not showing their ID number. And what about look at their faces? They're all covered. I'll bet dollars to donuts these are the same people who were against wearing a mask and during the pandemic, but right now they're okay by wearing a mask. It says here, Los Angeles, California. This is on Dodger Stadium. It says here, an LAPD officer walks near masked agent stage outside a gate at Dodger Stadium on June 19th, 2025. The Los Angeles Dodgers said in a statement that federal ICE agents requested permission to access Dodger Stadium parking lots, but they were denied. It says here that as more immigration enforcement operations are spotted across Southern California every day, state lawmakers are mulling over how to force officers to reveal their identities to ensure oversight while stopping scammers. The countless videos of apparent ICE raids show federal agents with their faces covered wearing plain clothes without a badge or identification, which prompted protesters to call the detainment illegal abductions. Even Karen Bass said that she doesn't even know the identities of federal agents who are taking people into custody. And do you think they're going to tell them who the fuck are they? Because Trump is doing whatever the fuck he wants. He's not going to reveal the face of these fucking cocksuckers because they're working for him. They're all Trump's puppets. Karen Bass said, "Who are these people? We're not sure who are these armed men. They show up without uniforms. They show up completely masked. They refuse to give ID. They're driving regular cars with tinted windows, in some cases, out-of-state license plates." Just like this young lady was saying, get the fuck out of here. One of them showed a state of Illinois and the other one was a state of Nevada. It says here that confusion over masked agents also prompted State Senator Sash Renee Perez to propose the expansion of SB 805, also known as No Vigilantes Act, to require law enforcement operating in California to clearly display identification featuring their name or badge number. She says, and I quote, It's clear we need to protect Californians, and that means finding out who is actually conducting immigration enforcement operations on our streets and holding them accountable, unquote. She highlighted the expansion of the existing law, especially pivotal these days as criminals as trying to exploit the vulnerable communities under the Trump administration's aggressive deportation efforts. Even before the public ICE raids began this month, state officials urged immigrants to take caution as scammers impersonate federal agents to demand money or sexual favors. The No Vigilantes Act aims to ensure that anyone conducting enforcement in California is really who they are, she said. It is clear whether the state law will be applicable for ICE agents, as the Supremacy Clause in the Constitution notes that when federal agents are carrying out duties authorized by federal law, such as the State Department of Homeland Security, and federal law is considered supreme over the state law. And it says here that state lawmakers from the Bay Area also introduced the SB 627, the No Secret Police Act, which make it a misdemeanor for any police officer, including a federal agent, to wear face coverings while interacting with the public. The proposal also aims to stop federal agents and local police officers from wearing face masks, and concerns that ICE agents were attempting to hide their identities and avoid accountability for potential misconduct during high-profile immigration raids. It's you know why they're always masking? Because if they see their faces, they're gonna get doxxed. And you know what? I will not feel no pity if they get doxxed, because they're monsters. They're heartless monsters. They're ripping people apart. And look what they did to that Gardner, the father of the Marine Corps, the son of the father of these Marine Corps. They were beating the fuck out of that poor fellow. And it says here that Republican federal officials have maintained that masks protect agents from doxing. Of course, they're going to coddle these motherfuckers. Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said, call the California bill despicable. Of course she's going to say that. She's going to fucking regurgitate the words that Trump says. And before I forget, this is what happened with ICE with the Dodgers. This right here, they show up. This is on Blue Sky, by the way. It says that this is Mark Walter, owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. One day after the team blocked ICE from accessing the stadium, the team announced that they will be donating $1 million to support immigrant families affected by the Trump administration. For once, even though I have a little bit of an issue with the Dodgers in regards to a lot of things in regards to the community, but right now I actually applaud what this dude's doing, you know? I actually applaud him, you know? But right now we are living in stressful times, people. What this fuckface is doing over there in Iran, and still going out here with the ICE raids here in Southern California. I mean, they say that they're everywhere, but they're focusing a lot right now here in Southern California, where there's predominantly a Latino American base. You know? But, well, I know we'll get through this. I know it. It's hard, you know, because this guy's going to be in charge for 3 more years. People say 4 more years. It's actually 3 more years. But you know what, though? We'll get through this. We are strong. But right now, I'm just fearing for the worst of what's going on right now in the world. The world needs peace, not wars. So before I log off, I want to say good night. And I want to post something that I think you'll find it pretty funny in regards to this orange fuck.
You have got to be the most delusional, self-obsessed, emotionally bankrupt, narcissistic piece of shit I've ever fucking met. Everything has to be about you, your feelings, your needs, your bullshit narrative like the rest of us exist to orbit your massive, bloated, pathetic fucking ego. You suck the air out of every fucking room you walk into and still have the balls to call yourself misunderstood. You're not misunderstood. You're not deep. You're just a hollow, manipulative, gaslighting parasite who feeds off attention like a fucking leech. You fake empathy like it's a party trick and expect applause for acting human. You lie, twist, deflect, and gaslight like it's your second language. Then act like the fucking victim when someone finally calls you out on your mountain of shit. Cry harder, you brain-dead fuck. Your crocodile tears don't work no more. You destroy people, use them, toss them aside, and smile while they bleed. You don't love anyone, you just use them until they're empty. You're not a victim, you're a fucking cancer. A toxic, arrogant, two-faced piece of donkey shit with a god complex and zero fucking self-awareness. You'll never be happy, because nothing will ever be enough for someone as empty, broken, and fucking fake as you. Go fuck yourself sideways with your own ego. Fuck me.
And that is exactly how I feel about this guy. So that about wraps up for this week's podcast. I'll be back next week. Let's see what happens in the coming days. If there's a so-called ceasefire, let's see what happens. And let's just hope right now. I'm just waiting for the month of June just to end because enough with these fucking raids. So thank you for listening, people. Have a good night. Bye-bye.